morning. Welcome to another edition of Medina Minute. Today we're here at one of my favorite places on the square, PJ Marleys, an old bank on the square that's now one of the best hamburger restaurants in the city. And today joining us is Cheryl Parzych from the United Way of Medina County. Cheryl, thanks so much for being here.
I'm delighted to be here. Good to see you.
Likewise. So Parzych, we were talking a little bit about last names. With Wiederhold, I get all kinds of weird misinterpretations of that. What's the history of your name, or how do you explain it to people?
Well, it's Polish in its background, but I think it's been shortened over the years.
Okay.
And it's a name that I married into, and I've had to explain it for decades now, so I have a lifelong marriage almost. But Parzych is something that people tend to stammer on. It looks a little more intimidating than it really is.
Sure. So you're here, United Way of Medina County, new position for you. How long have you been in the position now?
My first day was September 10th.
Okay, so very new.
Yeah.
So is that what brought you here to the city?
It did.
All right, and I know you've had quite the background of living around the country. Where did you move from to come here?
Back from Pittsburgh. I had worked in
Okay.
Ohio for many years in downtown Cleveland, and then took a position in Pittsburgh and had been there 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Before looking around for that next exciting role and landed here.
Yeah, interesting. So what is it, certainly you moved here for the job, but what do you think of our fair city?
I love it. I
Yeah.
really do. I mean, intentionally, I bought a home close to the square.
Okay.
So that I could be part of the community, not only through United Way, but personally.
Is there, in your time here, one of the things I love to ask our guests is, do you have a favorite building on the square, or is there a certain area that just really you love about the city?
I love the Main Street Cafe building.
Okay.
I love it. When it's all lit up, it's so cute. This building, which was a bank building, I'm a lifelong banker before United Way, so this is kind of near and dear to my heart.
So you had more of a corporate background?
I do have a corporate background.
How did you make that transition, or what was it within you that said, I want to work for a nonprofit and help people?
I think it had been coming on for a long time. Throughout my corporate career, I had the fortune to be able to be involved in many ways in the community, volunteering and on committees and as a board member through a number of nonprofit organizations. And I could really see the power of the work and the similarities to my corporate work of building relationships with people and helping people be more successful.
Okay. What then, that's a perfect tie-in to United Way, but how does that relate to you personally? That's quite an undertaking to lead all the nonprofits and to help fund them and to grow their missions. How does that resonate with you?
I think it puts me right in the mix, right in the center of the chaos, if you will, center of the storm. And I like that. One of the things I'm particularly good at, just naturally, is making those connection points. So I love to know what's going on all around me so that I can see how to link different players together to make something stronger.
So in your position then with the donors, what are some of those highest need issues? Most people consider Medina as a very upper middle class, wealthy community, great school system, wonderful town, and all those things are true, but there are certain areas of need. So what are some of those things that maybe people don't realize are
I think
here?
that is true. It is a very blessed community. And that's why we all love it.
Sure.
It's important, though, that we maintain it so that it stays this way. And also, it's not blessed for everyone. What it means to me is that we have the capacity to help the lower numbers of people that really need help. Mm-hmm. And people need help to live their lives in a very stable environment. It's really about getting children off to school strong. Will they enter the school system correctly? Mm-hmm. Nutrition, behavioral work, early literacy screening, that sorts of things. Those are the programs we fund there. Our assessment also told us that the youth, the people who are just about to take over in adulthood the care of this beautiful place, were having some trouble. That came out of the assessment. And they were having really high levels of suicide thoughts and suicides at the time, actual suicides, higher than the state, higher than national averages. So there's lots of bullying, as we hear about all the time, and there's isolation, depression, all of those kinds of things, which was really reading beyond teenage angst kind of problems. So we put behavioral health specialists in some of the school districts. The counselors there are very specially trained to deal with situations like that. We know through anecdote that at least in 2 or 3 cases, that intervention by those specialists has really prevented suicide since
fantastic.
we installed. And it's only 2 years in.
Okay, so you can absolutely see the change
We
in the
can.
work that the United Way has been doing.
We can.
That's
So
fantastic.
youth engagement is another big area. Things like Unity in the Community that many people might have heard about last year, which was a county-wide at the fairgrounds kind of
Sure.
event
And that
for
was a
youth.
huge event.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
And the E for Youth Summit, which will be run again here this coming October. So that is a really big engagement piece of our work, and lots of awareness counseling, awareness and prevention. How do you keep yourself safe as a teenager in a dating environment, in an online environment where you really don't know who's on the other side of that computer?
True.
So that kind of thing. And then finally, for struggling adults, people who are working, trying to make ends meet. It's very difficult to maintain a household on a minimum wage job. We know that.
Right.
So people who are unemployed or underemployed, we have a program called Employing Medina County. And Employing Medina County works on a life coaching model. So we discover all of those things together with our clients
Sure.
and make a plan.
Okay.
What is their vision for future employment? What kinds of work have they done in the past? We also work with employers who need good employees and a stable workforce. What kinds of assets are they looking for? And we bring those two together and stay with our client afterwards to make sure that it's going as planned.
So you're almost in a gatekeeper position in that you identify the need and then you have the resource and you put them together.
We do.
Are there, in your work, are there certain needs that you're seeing in the county that maybe aren't being met right now?
Well, I think in every one of those areas, we're only covering part of the population that is in need. So
Okay.
there's unmet need right there. There's also, as most people know, there's housing trouble, shortage if you're trying to rent.
Sure.
If you're unemployed, we do have people who are homeless because of
Yeah.
their circumstances. And the churches have done a great job in stepping up to try to sort this out. But as you probably know, we don't have a homeless shelter in the community.
Right.
So we're really feeling a sense of urgency when we work with those people
Okay.
to get them to a new situation so they can get something more stable and permanent. There are waiting lists for all of the assisted housing for sure.
I don't want to downplay what you do. You have quite a responsibility coordinating all this.
Yes.
Do you ever
We
get
love
a
it.
moment to just decompress and let the breath out and close the door and just be Cheryl?
We do. Well, you know, you get to be Cheryl, and this is part of me. I mean, this is a
Okay.
big part of me, and I really enjoy this. But when we go to Pizza Palooza, we'll be Cheryl, all right?
Fair enough. Very cool.
No, we have a lot of fun events, and I think that gives us an opportunity to just kind of relax.
Yeah. So what do you do like in your off time? What are your hobbies? Do you ever get a chance to just sit and read or crochet
Absolutely.
or build houses or how do you?
I did
let
that
out
once. I
steam?
tried to build a house. I worked with Habitat for one day. I almost killed myself. So I'd rather be the person that figures out how to get more money to Habitat than actually swinging a hammer.
Okay.
But yeah, I like to travel, and I do read, and I am a little bit of a homebody. I love being at home, and we have an older house, so there's always some kind of project going
Absolutely.
on, and that's fun. We have friends come and stay, and we enjoy it.
Where's your favorite place that you visited in your travels?
Well, particularly fond of Ireland, and
Okay.
go back there regularly. It was just one of those places that the first time felt really comfortable.
Yeah.
And we like New England. Lived in New England. I lived in New England for many years, and so it's a place I always go back to. New Hampshire in particular.
Okay.
Still have friends there, and I was very involved in the community there. And that's why I feel like it's a second home to me.
Sure.
But Syracuse, New York is actually home, so I get back there.
Okay. Like, what are your hobbies with the house? You say you're a homebody. Are you a gardener?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit, flowers and herbs and that sort
Okay.
of thing. So not enough to be a victory garden.
Yeah.
God forbid that should be a need again. I would starve. But definitely that kind of a thing. Decorating and sort of revamping the
Yeah.
house is something that I enjoy. And really just making it comfortable for
Sure,
guests when they
sure.
come in, and for me.
What's your style? Are you more the shabby chic, more country?
I'm kind of eclectic.
Okay.
You know, over the years, you know, you go through styles. I grew up in an old Victorian kind of a house, so I have a passion and a history for that. There's a little mix of that in my house, but
Yeah.
I like very, you know, clean things as well.
Okay.
And so it is eclectic.
It's interesting to see how styles have changed. When I was growing up, my mom was very much into country, you know, country living, early American life.
Yes.
And it's funny now, out of habit, when I go to the newsstand and look through those magazines, all the magazines look the same. Country living, it's not country anymore. They all have, you know, the redecorator HGTV look. Cracks me up.
Well, before and after, you know, you got to
Well,
hold
yeah,
your breath
before
for
and
that.
afters are cool. Those are cool. In your time here, is there, when you have visitors from out of town or guests
Yes.
that come stay with you, is there a certain place where you say, oh, we got to go here, you got to see this, we got to eat here? What is your Medina experience that you try and share?
Well, we do a little bit of the tour of the square. I have to go to AI Route, you know, that's the local famous
Sure.
and, you know, fun place to go. With the Irish connection, always go to Sully's, always go
Okay.
to Sully's. And so, you know, PJ Marleys right here is a stop.
Yeah, PJ Marleys is fun. I love to ask people when they talk about root candles. I found people are either very traditional in their scents or they like the more interesting scents. Are you a traditionalist? What's your favorite candle down at Root? Do you have one?
I do not have one. Actually, I'm an unscented person.
Sacrilege in this
I
town.
know. I like the look of candles,
Okay.
but the scent, not so much.
Interesting.
More like a vanilla kind of scent
Okay.
and holiday scent
Yeah.
at that time of year.
When you're at Sully's, what's that one meal or what's your favorite thing there? For the
Favorite
Irish
thing
experience.
really is the Irish egg rolls. Those are fabulous.
People love those.
They're great.
Really,
Well, they have
really great. Yeah.
great and consistent corned beef there at Sully's. I'm an expert.
Outside of programs or service organization support, what do you think we need in this community for the younger generation? For either kids or teenagers? That's one of the comments we hear a lot is, there's just nothing here for the kids. What do you see would fill that?
I think the parents are really very engaged here. I think they're interested in their kids and really supportive of all of the things that are typically school connected. What we bring to the table is sort of additive to school programs that might be sports or academic. We bring that community engagement side. So for children who are trying to be well-rounded as they enter college or they enter life after high school, go to work, this is a great place for them to connect at the United Way. Or for those kids that are on the sidelines, you know, they're not really sports athletes or anything like that. And you know, they're good students, but they don't know how to connect
Sure.
with others. Community engagement is the way to that.
Okay. Looking in your crystal ball,
Yeah.
how would you like to see our community evolve? Or what do you, outside of United Way, where would you personally like to see Medina go? Like, what do you think is needed? What do you think is the future for our city?
A good test for the city would be the young people staying here.
Okay.
And one of the things I've heard before I arrived was that Medina is a great place to live and raise a family. I think we need to continue to preserve that. I think we have a real opportunity to be that draw as a healthy community. I understand that, you know, bikers are getting more and more interested here. I know running is big here. Things that you can do as a lifelong resident that make it outdoorsy. The weather for a winter area is pretty good. And I grew up in Syracuse,
year.
New York.
That's true. That's
So-
true. By judgment, I think
Right.
Syracuse probably gets it worse.
Right, so, you know, if you get into cross-country skiing, snowshoeing and all that, if we become sort of a destination for that to live and visit, I think there's a great future.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been just a pleasure learning a little bit more about you and the work of United Way, and I look forward to see what you do here.
Good, I'm excited.
Always a pleasure, Cheryl. Thanks.
Good to see you.